Recently, I got a job at Walmart, which is pretty much a job where I lift a bunch of crates and transport them to rich people who were parked outside because they couldn't be bothered to shop for groceries. And every time I would transport groceries to their car, I would intentionally break something. For example, rich people order a bunch of chocolate for some reason, like big slabs of chocolate, and every time I would put the chocolate in the car, I would forcibly snap them in half in retaliation. The job sucks, and it was like minimum wage as well, which I think is borderline slavery because of the amount of physical work that you had to do. So I had no attachments to it, and I wanted to quit since literally the day I got it. And that came true because 3 weeks later after I got the job, my boss, who's a 63-year-old white woman and has worked retail her whole life, came up to me and said, "You're not working hard enough, so you're fired."
You know how much I sacrificed?
And at that moment, I wanted to call her a slave. I wanted to call her a piece of cattle that will never be free. So for the rest of the video, I'm going to be explaining my deep animosity towards slaves and cattle. My boss who fired me, the old white woman, she wasn't a bad person, I'll be honest, she was a nice lady. I'm not gonna say that she was a terrible person at heart, but that doesn't change the fact that to me, she was a slave. What scared me the most is that she was incredibly complacent. She worked in retail for like 40 years of her life and was okay with it. There was no ambition in this woman to do anything other than to deliver products to rich people that's complaining about literally everything ever. Like, it's annoying. Shut up. I remember this one time when I was working where there were no customers to deliver groceries to, and it was a long day and my legs were destroyed, so I took a seat. And literally the moment she saw me sitting down, even though there were no customers to tend to, she said viciously, "You're not getting paid to rest." And she was scrambling to find something for me to do. She said, "Go sweep the floors," even though the floors were already clean. And I wanted to say to her, "You don't get paid enough for this, so why are you acting like a slave?" I don't think I was wrong in thinking this because, you have this old woman right here still working at Walmart, not in a corporate position where you get a yearly salary, but as an hourly worker that gets 15-minute breaks every 4 hours. I looked at her as she was getting angry at me for sitting down when there were no customers, and I realized that not only was she a slave, but she didn't even know it. A week later, I got fired because I was putting minimal effort in, which is funny because it was a minimum wage job. But this is only one story, okay? There's another story that truly made me despise people that are not free. People that choose to not be free. People that choose to be put in shackles, like cattle in a farm. This story took place when I was in school, and we had to do an essay for English class. Now usually essays are where you have to answer a question and it has to be very specific and so on and so on. But this essay, the teacher said we're free to do whatever we wanted. Endless imagination, endless freedom. And this guy in my class, I knew him, we were acquaintances, we were never friends. He asked me what I was doing for my essay and I gave him my topic. And I asked him what he's doing and he said he didn't know. Which is a fair answer, it's a fair answer to not know. Sometimes when you have too much freedom, you're spoiled with choice, so, it's hard to pinpoint what you really want to do. But then he said something that eerily pissed me off. He said, "I wish the essay prompt was an actual question that we have to answer instead of it being so vague." Now, this statement may not seem insane to any of you, but it pissed me off because what he was actually saying was that he has no intellectual ability to develop his own ideas and that he would rather be told what to do and what to think, like a slave. And I got really angry. I wanted to call him a slave. I actually wanted to hurtle over at his desk and start beating the fuck out of him. Like I really wanted to call him a slave. The education system, rewards memorization and the ability to reproduce information rather than actually having innovating ideas. So it doesn't surprise me that he thought this way, but it bothered me because he said it in a way that it was a burden to think about anything. This is why I hate slaves and I hate cattle. I hate people that aren't free. I look at them and it bothers me because they're afraid. They're too afraid to challenge the status quo, sometimes not even realizing that they're afraid. I look at a cow in a farm. It pisses me off because they spend their whole lives in a farm getting milked. The only value that they provide is that they make milk. And once that's gone, they get beheaded and fed to 12-year-olds at Chipotle that don't deserve their food. All they have to do is jump over a 2-foot fence. A 2-foot fucking fence to see the world. But they don't do it. These fucking cowards, man. No wonder they call them fucking cowards. Coward. Fucking cowards, man. Kanye West said something that's very controversial a few years ago. He said that slavery was a choice. And a lot of people tried to cancel him for it, but you can't really cancel Kanye because he's Kanye. I know he was talking about, the black slaves in the 1800s and so on and so on. But me, I'm looking at the slaves of the 21st century. People that stay in shitty jobs because they're too afraid to challenge the status quo and people that never want to speak up or try to change something. I feel like I was one of those slaves, and I still am. I feel like I'm still a slave to the system. People want me to make certain type of videos because that's what they expect out of me. There's a lot of YouTubers that do it. There's a lot of YouTubers that are slaves, and I don't want to be in that category. Yes, they may be more successful, but I don't want to be in that category. I don't want to be a slave. I want freedom. This may be a naive way of thinking. I don't give a fuck. I want freedom. I want liberation. I want to connect with the universe. Most of you probably won't get what the fuck I'm on right now because I still don't get it, but eventually I will. And maybe when I do, you'll know too.